Let's fucking go.
Welcome
to the Island Shuffle, the podcast where we, up until now, have been watching Lost in the wrong order. However, this is a very special episode. Because we watched a very special episode.
We watched the granddaddy of all episodes.
The granddaddy of all episodes, the finale.
The finale.
Before we get into it, do we want to at least kind of talk about why we're stopping effectively?
Totally. We took a small break, and then pandemic happened, and I moved away for almost a year, and many things got in the way. But now I returned to the city, and now am moving away.
Yes.
More permanently. So our opportunities to watch Lost together have come to an end.
Unfortunately, this is true. I talked about doing it remotely maybe, but I just feel like that doesn't have the same oomph. And also on top of that, I'm not speaking on your behalf, but for me, I've also kind of lost interest in
I have watched a lot of Lost I feel like it's really funny because we almost watched all of them.
Yeah.
But it's in a big way, it also feels like we sort of did watch all of them.
I'm not sure, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy recording this podcast with my beloved friend, James. But I think just my priorities have shifted in the past couple of years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are more important things in life, turns out.
There might be more important things in life than dedicating a large amount of one's free time to watching the show Lost out of order and talking about it.
Yes.
Not to say that you, the listener, should not dedicate even larger amounts of your time to listening about people watching Lost out of order. Go back, re-listen.
Please,
all the episodes.
Re-listen, like and subscribe.
Yeah, when you leave the house, put it on for your pets.
For your pets, love it. Your pets love to hear us talk about John Locke, James Sawyer, Hurley, Kate is there. Jack, of course.
Who's the one? There's Faraday and Charlotte.
Yeah, they're there.
Faraday and Charlotte.
Miles are here.
Yeah, so play that for your pets or play it for your plants. It's been scientifically shown. If you play this for your plants, it will kill the plants.
It will kill the plants. So if you're fucking sick of your bullshit plants, I've got great news. Play this loud and in stereo.
Play it at the pool, the public pool.
Everyone will love you for it.
Summer's coming up.
Summer's coming up. You
get the boombox out. You record this onto a cassette. You get the boombox out.
Turn up the bass.
Turn up. Yeah, you get your Sony Hi-Fi.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't told you is that every podcast we record, we put a secret, very hard to hear low end on there.
Yeah.
And it's a killer mix.
You must turn it up.
That's
a little one for the true heads.
If you haven't been turning it up this whole time, back to start for you is all I have to say.
Totally. You must listen from episode number 1.
Yes.
Which is episode number 46.
Is it episode 46?
I have no idea. No. It would have been impressive if I know.
If you had pulled that out, I would have been genuinely impressed. I have no idea. But yeah, we're wrapping up the show, and we thought it would at least be nice to watch the finale together.
Yeah.
And
I've been curious for years
as
to what happens.
Do we want to just get right into the big question of the finale?
I would love to, because I have a lot of questions, having just watched this, and this was such a fun foray back into Lost.
Yes.
Because I and so much of it, and also it still felt like it wasn't making sense. I am pretty confident that wasn't because I forgot very much stuff.
No, it's just kind of it's a strange television show. Watching Lost is a strange experience, no matter what order you do it in. I think.
I figured as much.
I would like to ask you a question first and foremost.
Yes, of course.
What was your interpretation of the ending of Lost, the television show?
That's a really good question. So, in the end, they're all in this. I'll just explain a little bit for the viewer at home. Maybe because I understand that the listener might not have just watched the finale of the TV show Lost. But so they were existing in this alternate timeline where none of them have ever been to the island.
Yes.
And over the course of the episode, all of those people in that alternate timeline realize that in a different world, they took part in this island thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all go to a church.
Yes.
And then they're all like, we're leaving now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jack's dad opens up a door.
Yes.
And it shines a bunch of light on the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then also on the island, in this alternate universe, Jack dies with Vincent the dog beside him.
That does describe the ending of those are the events.
So what is my interpretation? I don't totally know. I feel like I was sort of confused as to why they sort of like I was confused as to how the existence of one universe totally negated the importance of the other universe, whereas it feels to me like they all got together and collectively decided, like, this thing happened in a parallel universe,
Right.
so let's go to this church and essentially be a doomsday cult and I'll die.
Wow.
But it's like the whole time, like, Jack has a son in this
Yes.
other universe. Does he just, like, what about him?
Yeah, at one point his son just like stops existing, and it's fine.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. That's it. Jack does surgery on Locke, and then Jack's like, I'm supposed to go to this thing with my son, and Locke's like, you don't have a son. It's like, okay, so we erased an entire human being.
Yes.
And so I honestly do not know what to make of it.
That fucking rocks. I gotta tell you, that owns. I am happy to shed a little bit of light on it for you.
I would really appreciate that.
The way I understood it, and the creators eventually backed this up, was that the alternate timeline was never an alternate timeline.
Okay.
The alternate timeline, the whole time, all of season 6 you spent in this alternate timeline. All of that was, as Christian, the dad, described it, the place they all made together. It's purgatory, basically.
Oh, so they all...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm sort of grasping that in my mind, but you could hear whenever I tried to explain my understanding of it, sort of just sounds come out of my mouth. So like, like I can't yet elaborate on what you're saying or explain but I'm beginning to. I sort of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's so confusing.
It's really confusing. The main thing that at the time I remember being like, I'm watching season 6 week after week.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
And it seems a lot worse than even when Lost wasn't good before. And I'm like, well, okay.
Because like season 5, is that the time travel season?
Yes.
That was like bad, but it was a hoot.
Yeah, it's a fun romp.
Yeah.
It's like silly. They go back, they go hang out, they live in the Dharma world.
But season 6 wasn't fun.
No, that's one thing that I think this finale has. I think this finale is at least a little bit fun.
Yeah, and it's like at least you have the characters like having fun with one another. And you have joy, I guess, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like I think that was sort of something that was lacking in most of season 6 was like they're in the temple, on the island, and then off island. It's like they're living these really, like, poorly put together lives, where they don't actually seem to enjoy anything. They're just like lethargically going through life.
It's so like the twist, the twist of like it's set up so it's like, oh, how are these alternate timelines going to converge? Psych! It's not an alternate timeline. It's actually the afterlife.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, I was like, okay, now I bet if I rewatch season 6, it'll be really good now.
Oh, yeah, it's like this thing, and they're planning, Easter eggs the whole time.
I bet it'll all fall into place.
Yeah.
No, it still fucking sucks.
Yeah, totally.
It's still a real slog.
I feel like this show has many times, like, planted a seed that it chooses not to let grow.
Yeah.
Or... Now, here's a great example of it here. They're like, we were growing this whole time, and then you watch back and you're like, no, you weren't. You just, you planted a seed, and then the next day you replaced it with a fully grown plant, and we're like, look at my magic beans.
Exactly. It's not great. It was a the best I can say about it is that it was an ambitious idea.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, everything about its execution was just so dire, and it drags down an already, like, brutal season.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, that's what I said to you when we were watching. It's like, I feel like I've never watched a season finale where it's this late into it and I still have no idea what's really happening.
Yeah.
I feel like every other, like, show, like, they've already built up something and then they're, like, neatly folding it away.
Yeah.
Or, like, you think, I know you've been watching through Breaking Bad.
Yes,
Did you
yes.
just watch the finale of that yet?
I finished up Breaking Bad. That's a show that knows how to build up tension and payoff.
Totally. It
certainly.
planted all these seeds, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen, and then you're like, oh, I wonder how this situation and this situation and this situation will
Yeah.
resolve, and they're like, okay, we're going to bring logical conclusions to
Yeah.
each and every one of them.
We're going to bring back stuff that you haven't thought of in seasons, and we're going to integrate it in a natural way.
Totally.
We're gonna pay off things you weren't even thinking about.
Whereas this is like, okay, 5 minutes before the end of the show, we're going to introduce the idea that this thing you didn't understand is actually more complicated than you
Yes.
thought it might be.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, that is very confusing.
It's not good. I'll ask you one more question before we get into, like, a beat-by-beat recap, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
Do you believe that they were dead the whole time?
No, I don't think they were. With that explanation, and even having watched it, no, I don't think they were dead the whole time. I feel like they all lived their lives until they died, and then like with Christian at the end was like, the most important time you ever spent was the time you spent with these people.
Yes.
So I feel like, okay, in the afterlife they build this shitty matrix for
Yeah.
them to all live together.
They all live together in LA, and their lives are the same mostly.
Yeah, except Sawyer's a cop.
Yeah.
With Miles. I love what those two chose to do with their super lives.
That's great. I don't think Miles was in the church.
No, Miles was not in the church, and Frank Lapidus was not in the church.
No, that's so fucked up.
But I don't think they were dead the whole time.
Okay, because that's a very... I think at one point I mentioned to you I have two pet peeves about Lost. One of them we discussed was people thinking J.J. Abrams is responsible for the whole of the show. When he really kind of was involved in the pilot and a bit of season 1, and that's kind of it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And then the second one is people thinking they were dead the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I thought, before I had watched it, I thought it was sort of common knowledge that, like, they were dead the whole time.
That's a really common misconception. The night that the finale aired, I remember I had a friend who thought that, and I was like, I don't think that's how, and we kind of had to, like, hash it out.
But to be fair,
you can absolutely understand because they don't really execute it very well.
I've never seen a show with such an ambiguous ending that it's like, and it's the funny thing is too, the like they were dead the whole time thing. It's like watching that, I don't even really see how someone really gets that.
Yeah.
But I can see how it's like someone watches something that they totally don't understand.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I could understand if they were dead the whole time, like that might make this make sense. So that's like they're just grasping at straws, trying to comprehend what they just witnessed.
Exactly.
And they come to this conclusion that seems pretty far off, but it's like it seems much more easy to understand than this alternate world was really the real world, and they all died at different times, and then they came together. Like that other one that they tried to make happen but didn't really do the job of explaining. Yeah. They just failed at what they were trying to do, and so people didn't get it.
Exactly. That's I think that is a failure of execution on the finale's part, that so many people misunderstood it and thought it was that they were dead the whole time. Yeah. That being said, I kind of like the finale.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
3.5 out of 10. I think
that's pretty generous.
Yeah, and it might, like, I think with the finale, it might be one where my interpretation of it or my appreciation of it
Yeah.
suffers a little bit from not having watched it in a linear fashion, because I
Yeah.
think you explained, like, you were like, this is by far the best episode of season 6.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like if I was watching through season 6 and like suffering through it,
Yes.
just like,
Begging.
yeah, hoping beyond hope that they'll give me something interesting.
Yeah.
Because they do give you interesting things, and it's like there's drama and the stakes are high, and there's all those decent things.
Yeah.
But when the last episode that we just watched, which granted was several years ago,
Yes.
but it's like that was like the episode where like Libby and Hurley become a thing, and then Libby dies, and like and it makes I didn't have many questions.
No,
after
the stakes are quite clear cut, quite tangible.
Yeah. So when I compare those two things, if that episode was like an 8 out of 10 episode,
Yeah,
of TV, I couldn't really give this one more than a 4.
That's absolutely fair. I think my feelings towards the finale are absolutely affected by having watched through all of season 6. And just a wasteland. And then they give me like one scene where like Sawyer and Juliet are like crying in each other's arms, and I'm like, oh fuck, man, they never lost it, baby. They did it.
I do love that. Also, like, we certainly noted whenever Sawyer and Juliet met one another, it's like everyone else is meeting one another. It's like pretty, like, there's camaraderie, or there's a knowing smile. I feel like there's a lot of knowing smiles.
A lot of like, hey, you get it, don't you?
So whenever Sawyer is involved, it's just like fireworks, making out. You know it goes beyond that later on.
You know that Sawyer is getting his nut.
And it's just incredible that, like, to the very end, this show is always having Sawyer be like by far the horniest character.
By far.
And he's always like engaged in explicit sexual attraction and scenes where no one else really gets that.
No, Sawyer's the horn dog. He's out here fucking and sucking from dusk till dawn.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
Where do you want to start with the recap, I guess?
So I guess because we had watched a first half of this first episode.
Yes, we previously covered the part of the finale up to Locke and Jack lowering Desmond into the hole.
But maybe we should establish some very, very basic details as to whenever we say the word Locke.
Yeah.
We're not actually talking about John Locke, the person.
No. John Locke's been long dead. What are you, stupid?
We're talking about the body of John Locke, which is now inhabited by the smoke monster.
Yes, of course.
Who is trying to destroy the island.
He's trying to destroy the island and escape from the island.
And to do what?
Unclear. That's one of my biggest complaints about this finale, is that I would have loved a taste of what... I would have loved to see what their takes on a world where the smoke monster fucking escapes.
Totally.
Like, even a glimpse of that.
Totally, exactly.
Would have been
does
cool.
he wreak havoc on the larger world at large, or does he just live in anonymity?
It would be really funny if he got out and just like fucked off.
He goes to Galveston, Texas, and like
hangs
owns
out.
an apartment building.
He works a 9-to-5, and he enjoys the simple things.
Yeah, and every now and again, once in a while, if he goes on vacation to like Southern California, someone says, "Hey, aren't you the man inhabiting the body of John Locke?" He says, "Why, yes, I am. Yes, I am."
And he says, "Well, you flatter me too much."
So Locke, when we say Locke, is actually the smoke monster.
Yes, exactly.
Embodying Locke.
Exactly.
And also Jack has a very special job now.
Yeah, he took up the mantle of Jacob. He is now the island protector because he took a sippy of some kind. Yeah. He took a special sippy.
He's the island protector and also sort of like a little bit god.
He's a little bit godly.
But he doesn't seem to have any of the like more godly powers that Jacob has.
He spends most of the finale in the state of being god. But he seems exceptionally normal.
Yeah, I feel like Locke seems different.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack does not seem at all different.
No, Jack is fine. I think that might just be that Terry O'Quinn is an exceptional actor, and Matthew Fox is.
He's okay.
He's fine. He gets the job done.
He's doing his best.
He's been trying to be the ostensible lead of this 6-season show.
Mm-hmm.
He does his damnedest here,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's the Ted Mosby of the show.
he's a bit of a Ted Mosby. He's a bit of a Tedward Mosby.
Whereas, okay, who is the Barney Stinson? Is it Terry O'Quinn or is it Sawyer?
I think it's Sawyer.
Yeah,
because
Sawyer Fox.
Because Sawyer Foxen is epic and is winning or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen How I Met Your Mother in so
Bazinga.
long. Yeah,
Yes.
he says bazinga. He says this is one modern family.
Lovely quote from the hit sitcom Modern Family.
They're always saying it.
Yeah, he's like one of those like little yellow cartoon people that says, "We're Simpsons, god dang it."
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Haven't you heard of me? I'm Homer Simpson.
So those are the two, though. I feel like
Yes.
those are the two real things that need explanation.
Yes.
Because they're so central to all of
Yes.
the tension and drama that's occurring.
Yes, Jack is God. Locke is the devil.
Yeah.
Together they have a bet where they bet that if Jack thinks if they send Desmond down to the heart of the island,
Yeah.
that they will be able to kill John Locke.
Yeah.
And John thinks if they send Desmond to the center of the island, that he'll be able to get off the island.
Yeah.
So Desmond goes down the waterfall.
Yeah.
And what does he find?
Oh, he finds like it's like a bubbling hot tub.
Yeah.
With some really yellow light.
Yeah, he
in
finds
it.
the old piss jacuzzi.
Yeah, he finds the piss jacuzzi,
Mhm.
and it has like a concrete or like a stone sort of pole in the middle, or like a
Cork?
like a plug,
Like a
cork,
plug,
a
yeah.
cork. Yeah, it has the cork of the island. Is
Yes,
what it is.
exactly.
And he goes into this hot tub,
Mhm.
and the second he steps foot in it, there's like an earthquake.
Yeah.
And then
he goes, ouchie, owie.
Yeah, he's like, uh-oh, but in like his funny accent.
Yeah, so he goes,
Ouch, brother.
no.
9. And then he opens up the cork,
Mm-hmm.
and the water drains, and there's earthquakes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts giving off like a lava vibe, even though
Yeah.
it doesn't shoot lava out. It's like
No.
there's lava where the water was.
Yeah, kind of a hell situation.
A light hell.
A bit-
Shades of hell.
Yeah, shades of hell. A dash of hell now.
And Desmond just sort of passes out.
Desmond
at
is
that
just
point.
like I'm out.
Yeah.
I got zapped by the light. And
He
now
just goes to sleep.
He says good night.
Yeah.
And he's earned a nap, I think.
He's earned a nap that will last the most of the episode.
Yes, and so everybody say rest well, Desmond. Because we won't be
Rest
seeing
well,
you for a while.
Desmond.
Good night, Desmond. Jack and Locke observe the light dim
Mm-hmm.
and turn into hellfire, and they say, and Locke is
Mm-hmm.
like, looks like I was right, fucker. Time to
Yeah.
leave. Hee hee hee. Ha ha ha. But then Jack tackles him
Terry O'Quinn delivered that line expertly, might I add.
expertly.
The
with-
hee 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 ha ha ha. Not many other performers could pull that one off. But
I think you really need to go to like a reliable character actor like Terry O'Quinn
Uh-huh.
to really sell the hee hee hees and the ha ha ha's and the ouchie ouchies.
ouchie, ouchie, and then he asks, "You want to know how I got these scars on my mouth?"
Oh, I love when he says that.
But then they get into a fight.
They get into a fight.
Yeah,
Jack,
Locke is like, "You lost, I won. I'm gonna go escape the island now."
here I go.
And Jack is sort of stunned.
Jack is
He's like, "Oh, I guess I lost."
and Jack gives up and leaves
Yeah.
and cries, and that's the end of the episode.
It's and then they're all dead.
They're all dead. It's so sad. They were dead the whole time.
Who knows?
As of this episode.
Yeah.
Just kidding. What actually happens is Jack tackles him, punches him, and Locke starts freaking bleeding.
Yeah, which he hadn't done yet as
Yes.
the smoke monster Locke, because that guy was invincible.
He
I
was
suppose.
invincible. He couldn't be vinced.
But now that island has been corked,
Mm-hmm.
and the molten lava is going, and the light of the island is no longer shining.
Yes.
When you punch John Locke, he will feel the hurt.
Exactly. And he feels it. And so Jack is like, we're both right, bitch. And then they get into a big fight.
Yeah, and then they just like go to a different location on a cliff.
Yeah.
To like have a huge fight. It's funny though because it's like they walk there together. Like, there's not like a chase or anything.
I forget. I think Locke manages to escape. To the cliff, and Jack chases him there, which is where they have the standoff where they sprint at each other on the cliff, and Jack does a fucking jumping punch.
Yeah, he jumps off like a boulder and punches from above. He had the high ground, Anakin.
He had the high ground. I fucking love this fight scene, unironically. It's so like what... There's something so, like, pure about, like, well, it's the final episode of Lost. It's gotta be Jack and Locke fighting.
Totally. On a cliff.
On a cliff in the rain while earthquakes are happening and everybody's scared.
Yeah.
But you know what? They go for it, and they're tussling. They're throwing haymakers.
Quite a fight scene. It goes on for like 2 minutes.
It goes on for 2 minutes, and
Locke has a knife.
Locke has a knife, and with that knife, he has the upper hand.
Yeah.
He's got a knife to Jack's throat.
Yeah.
But then along comes Kate with a gun.
And shoots Locke in the back.
They kick Locke over, and that's it for the smoke monster.
Smoke monster is dead.
Smoke monster has
Locke
been killed.
Is dead.
With a gun.
With a gun. They always say that the pen is mightier than the sword. But is it mightier than the gun? That is what I ask.
I think Locke would find... if you ask Locke, he would tell you that it's gotta be the bullet.
Yeah, baby. He was not killed by the pen.
Because
they write on electronic devices now.
Yeah, nobody uses pen and paper anymore. Everybody's texting and emojis.
Totally.
Now.
Millennials no longer stand a chance against swords.
They would. I think that a sword would cleave the 100 emoji in twain.
I must agree. So Locke is dead, but it's not like he didn't get his licks in. He did stab Jack pretty well.
He did get a good stab on Jack, which, good for him. And if it's a fair fight. So Locke is dead. However, the island is still a-crumbling.
Yeah.
And earthquakes are going everywhere, and everybody's scared.
And you're seeing, like, big parts of the island, like a whole cliff will just... Like, it's dying. It's clear that the island is... If it keeps going like this, it might have, a couple hours.
Exactly. It's bad for our beloved island that we love so much.
Yeah, we spend so much time on.
Exactly.
And all the Dharma research is at risk.
All the Dharma research.
And they keep shouting that. The Dharma research.
Oh my god, what about that one station with 1 million pneumatic tubes in it?
Yeah.
What about all the TVs?
What about the one where is the experiment the person being watched or the watchee or the watcher?
What about the one where we rigged a chess game to explode it for some reason?
Yeah,
I guess we already exploded that one, so that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. But so they need to save it. Well, there's two groups that meet at this point, and then they take their separate paths.
One group, Sawyer and Kate decide we got to go reunite with the plane crew of Lapidus and Miles and Richard.
Yeah.
And they're all like all throughout this like sequence, they're radioing in with Lapidus and Miles and Richard and being like, "Hey guys, how's the plane coming along?"
Yeah.
And Lapidus is like, "Fuck you."
He's like, "It's not going great and we're leaving in 2 minutes." And then he always sees multiple times just thrown the walkie-talkie.
He always throws it as far away as he can. He shot puts it across the fucking island.
Lapidus does not handle pressure well.
No, he does not. I mean, you know what? He comes through, but he is clearly in a state.
And it's sort of, even when they come through, not to jump too far ahead, I feel like it was in no large part due to what Lapidus did. He sort of just told other people to do things, and then he's the only one who can fly a plane. But I don't know that he exhibited great skills at creative problem solving like anyone else did. No. He just kind of did what the story demanded of him because his role in the show is can fly a plane. Totally.
And so he was here to fly the plane off of the island one last time for good measure.
So Sawyer and Kate decide they want to go see Lapidus. They're like, we want to get on that plane. We want to go back to the mainland.
Yeah.
we're gonna, it'll be sick.
But Jack says, I have to, whatever Desmond didn't work. I have to go in and undo it, because I'm the protector of the island. It's my responsibility.
Yeah.
And Ben says, I'm going down with the island. If the island sinks, I die with it. And Hurley says something along those lines as well.
Yeah, Hurley's like, I'm a nice guy. I don't want to leave any of you.
So we get a tearful goodbye between Jack and Kate.
Yeah.
They say goodbye. They say, I love you. Sawyer says, put her there, partner.
Yeah, he says, and Jack calls him James instead of calling him
Yes.
Sawyer. So it's like, I feel like there's some growth in their relationship.
Yes.
Or some mutual respect and like the tearing down of the walls that we build up around ourselves.
Too little too late, I think.
Yeah, I mean.
But it is a gesture that I'm sure Sawyer and Jack are both welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jack, Hurley, and Ben go back to the heart of the island.
Yeah.
And Jack says, listen up, guys. I'm fucking dying.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go down there, I'm probably not coming back. So here's the deal. It has to be you, Hurley. Hurley, you have to be the protector of the island.
You're the new god. I was Jacob for 2 days, and that was long enough. I'm gonna go die now.
Yeah.
Hurley, now you can be Jacob.
And Hurley says, okay, sounds good. And he takes a sacred sippy.
And it's really just they find a water bottle. He takes a sip from the stream.
All the music is like very like, whoa, isn't this a mysterious ritual?
But it's just they dip a water bottle in a dirty puddle and then Hurley drinks it.
Hurley drinks it all in one gulp.
Yeah, which is cool. I do respect that.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of that scene was after he finished chugging this muddy, dirty dirt water from a dirty bottle. He wipes his mouth, and Ben standing by goes, "That was so cool."
That
Hurley.
was dope, and Hurley belches.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, up until that point, I would have rated the episode about a 2 out of 10.
Yes.
But it got to 3.5.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a 1.5 star bump for sure for the old Hurley burp.
Yeah, the herp.
The herp. I think that's something else, actually.
Yeah, I do think that is something else.
That's we'll never know. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah, there's many interpretations. Some think that the herp was dead all along.
Exactly. Some think that herp was an alternate timeline. So Hurley accepts. Hurley's god now, and that's great. And they lower Jack in. Yep. Jack goes to the cork, puts it back in.
But wait, no, he also sees Desmond.
Yes,
Desmond had been sleeping there the whole time, and he wakes Desmond up and says, "Here, go over to this rope, and they'll lift you up."
Yeah.
And Desmond's like, "Okay."
Exactly.
And I think that's really pretty much the last we see of Desmond.
That's the last we see of Desmond. So Jack puts the cork in.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, the water comes back, the light comes back, the hell goes away, and it's clear that he did what he did. The set for that like area is really underwhelming, I think.
It is like, it doesn't look as grand as I think they want it to.
No.
And also like the effects. I mean, actually, the lava effect is fine.
I think the hellfire effect is
the island effect is pretty like poor. It's
very PS3.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it doesn't look organic in any way. It just looks like, we shined like a yellow stage light on top of this thing, even though it's clearly just like bad CGI.
Yeah, they turned the bloom up a bunch.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great, unfortunately. It has the same energy as like the temple sets, where it's like it feels like a high school play almost.
Totally, yeah. And it's funny to see from like the show that had the highest budget pilot ever to exist.
Yeah.
And now it's just like in these large moments in the show when they're really trying to like do something grand.
Like you're in the heart of the island.
It does not look good.
This is the source of all the island's mystery.
It looks B-movie.
Yeah.
Like I think Jerry Seinfeld as a bee was there actually.
He was there.
He was buzzing.
He was buzzing around and he was saying, "What's the deal with me? I'm just a little bee."
Yeah. I loved that part too.
That part was great. That part bumped it up to a 4.5 for me. But then there was something else that bumped it down, that negated it, basically.
Totally.
We have a very complicated and sophisticated rating system that...
we have a rubric.
We have a rubric. We have an enormous, like, 4-axis spreadsheet that we'll never reveal.
There are bonus points and demerits that can be awarded at any given time.
There's multipliers. There's combos.
Many of them are based around Jerry Seinfeld cameos.
Exactly.
And it has been not hitting on those areas up until this episode.
Up until this episode, the Jerry Seinfeld the Jerry Seinfeld rubric is now finally coming into play, and I for one couldn't be happier.
Me too.
I thought dedicating thousands of lines of code to calculating the impact of Seinfeld on any given episode of Lost. I just was like, there's a chance this might not pay off.
There was a slight chance.
Chance.
And it almost didn't, because we had such a long break before we did this.
This is why I'm so grateful that we got this chance to finally record.
We have so many hours of work.
Yes.
But days, really.
And it's all paid off.
It's all paid off.
With
that 1 point that got taken away. So we can finally end up at the score of 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
But then what happened? So Jack, he's laying and there's water coming in the heart of the island. Came back on, and then he sort of goes to sleep and like wakes up in the forest.
He wakes up in the forest.
Yeah.
There's one thing that happens before he wakes up in the forest.
Yeah.
Which is that he ties Desmond up to the rope.
Yeah.
So that Desmond can go up with Hurley. Hurley and Ben see, like, oh, the light's back on. Pull Jack up. Wait, it's Desmond. Oh, no, this isn't Jack.
And Hurley's super bummed about it. And he does not hide that to Desmond, which is, I think it's so funny because it's like, they knew that Desmond was down there. Mm-hmm. And they really didn't care if he came back up or not.
No, they didn't give a shit about Desmond.
There were no tears shed. There was no, like, wait, Desmond. There was none of that. But whenever Jack was down there, it was like, no, we can't lose Jack.
I feel like Desmond is, like, such an interesting character because so much of his plot feels, like, apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
But for them to just be like, no,
we don't want you.
We don't want Desmond.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, especially because it's like you go to a party, or you say you're gonna have one-on-one dinner with someone at a nice restaurant.
Yes.
Who would you choose, Jack or Desmond?
Desmond.
Yeah, he's way more interesting.
He's literally nice.
I know.
Jack would be bored the whole time,
totally.
And he would bore you.
And then he'd just be like, "Stitch me up."
He'd get stabbed somehow or another.
He's always getting stabbed.
He's always getting stabbed. Always demanding stitches.
Desmond is just like, just looking for Penny.
Desmond's just a wife guy.
He's just a wife guy.
He's just a humble wife guy, and the island tried to take that from him.
Totally. So, Desmond goes back up. Hurley's like, we don't want you, but then they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Desmond just sort of leaves. And just is not involved in the scene anymore. Mm-hmm. And Hurley's like, well, I guess I'm God now.
Yeah.
Because his plan was to give the God responsibility back to Jack whenever he came back.
Exactly.
But Jack never came, so he's like, well, I guess I'm God now.
Yeah.
And Ben is like, yeah, I guess I'll get going. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. And then Hurley's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this island at all. I need someone who's been around.
Yeah, I'd love to have you.
Ben, come on aboard. And
so I guess
they're friends.
Ben sort of is like his Richard?
Yeah. Sort of. I think Ben sort of serves as his Richard.
Okay.
There is a, like, post-lude sort of thing that I think was released on a DVD where we get one scene of, like, Hurley and Ben working together to do something mysterious.
It's always something mysterious with this show.
Of course, it's gotta be something mysterious. I will say that I do like the thought of Hurley and Ben hanging out.
Oh, and just being, like, the crew?
Just being the crew.
That's what was so fun whenever it was Lapidus and Miles and Richard together. It's like, this crew makes no sense. I love it.
This is the crew where it's just like, we couldn't figure out how to get these guys back.
Totally.
They gotta go on the plane.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the plane, by the way.
The plane.
Kate, Sawyer, and
Claire. They find Claire.
Yes, they find Claire, and Claire says, I'm sad about...
Because Claire, listener, I don't know if you remember, but Claire became Russo, essentially.
Yes.
She sort of just went crazy on the island
Yeah.
and became a lady who runs through the jungle with a gun and shoots people.
And sets traps and such, and is mean and yells at you.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of Claire's deal for season 6, and it wasn't really anything.
Yeah, it was just like confusing, and I felt bad for her as a character and her as an actress because it's like, wow, they are not. You can't do anything with this part.
You cannot. But she's here on the beach and she says, I don't want to leave the island because I'm crazy. Yeah. And then Kate's like, no, you're not. It's fine. Come with us. And Claire says,
I guess
okay.
they're like, okay, good enough.
And they
I
get
guess we can just undo all this past year of me running around hunting the most dangerous game.
Look, who amongst us hasn't gone a little stir crazy in this pandemic so that we can and begin hunting the most dangerous game of all man.
Sometimes you hunt the most dangerous game.
Sometimes you hunt the most dangerous game to cope.
Yeah.
And is that so bad?
Yeah, no. You can go back to your normal life.
I think so, whenever you're ready.
So Kate convinces her to come.
Yeah.
And the plane is about to pull out. Lapidus has put his foot on the pedal and he's pulled the thruster and he's like, we're going, but then he sees them on the runway.
Yeah. And
they come in the plane.
And here's what I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear rumblings of like, oh, is there any interest in like reviving Lost as a franchise? There's 10 reasons why Lost as a franchise could come back. Has anybody ever thought like something like that?
Yeah.
The only way that that premise works for me is if it starts with that plane fucking landing somewhere.
Love that.
And everybody in the world being like, okay, so this plane has a couple of oceanic survivors that we knew about, a couple that were presumed dead, a guy there's no record of, and then a couple other unrelated people. Richard. Richard, I gotta see Richard go back to society.
Totally.
I gotta see Richard fucking on TikTok.
I would love that. I would love to see them recast all those parts.
Yes. Oh my god. That would be good. I would love to see them recast those parts and like try to like explain it. Try to like justify it.
Richard is played by Seth Rogen. We just thought he was a fun and goofy guy.
Oh, this is what happens when you start aging after 150 years.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, I discovered weed.
You guys heard about this? Jacob never let me have any of this stuff. Whoa.
Kate will be played by Zendaya because she's in everything right now.
That's exactly right. Sawyer will be played by Timothy Chalamet. And
Lapidus. Who would play Lapidus?
Oh, who would play Lapidus?
I don't.
J.K. Simmons.
I love it.
That's not bad, eh?
No, that's not bad. I've watched that show.
I think it'd be better if they recast it all and just didn't explain it even a little bit. Didn't even make an effort to explain it. Just said,
I feel like that would not even be like in one of the top 5 strangest decisions the show's made.
No. They'd just be like, this is how Sawyer and Kate have always been. They've always looked like this. Worry not.
I love that.
That's great.
Oh, well. So there's that. Is that pretty much what happens?
I think so. The plane takes off.
Yeah.
And Ben and Hurley are working out their plans to run things better than Jacob did.
Yeah.
And then Jack is crawling out of the bamboo forest and he lies down and he sees the flight take off. He sees Vincent come out. Vincent lies next to him. And then Jack dies, and the last shot of the show is his eye closing, which is a mirror of the first shot,
nice.
which is...
his eye opening.
Yes, exactly.
Also, for any non-big Lost fans out there, Vincent is a dog.
Yeah,
it's not like there's just a human man who crawls out and they come inside him and we forgot.
A human man who hasn't been present for the entire rest of the finale.
No, is the dog.
He just crawls out and starts going, Jack, no! What the heck? Oh, no!
Oh my god.
What the heck happened? I thought you were the god now. But you're dying?
But you're dying.
Well, Jack. I'm dying too, buddy, so don't worry about it. Come on, Jack. Let's die together for old time's sake.
That would bump it up to a 6 out of 10.
That would be huge. That would negate a lot of things. If Vincent was just a human man for this episode and this episode alone.
Jack would turn and say, "Vincent, is that you?" And Vincent would say, "I'm a human man now."
Whoa, Hurley's running this island a little differently. He's turning all dogs to people and all cats into squirrels.
Yes, hell yeah. Whoa. Whoa, too far.
You're right. That was
Cats
too
into
much.
squirrels. Insane.
Too much. No, not even the most deranged inhabitant of the island, most cravenly mad with power, would stoop so low as to turn a cat into a squirrel.
Absolutely not. They're natural born enemies.
Ben would be disgusted at the thought of this.
Ben would be disgusted.
Even during the height of his murderousness.
Yeah, no, totally. It's I can't believe we're even still talking about it because it makes me want to vomit.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
So that's the island stuff, and I think for the vast majority of the alternate timeline / purgatory stuff, it's a lot of
nothing happening.
It's a real lot of nothing. It's a lot of people, like characters you love, reuniting and being like, "Oh my god, I remember you."
Totally.
Whoa.
So it's just it's like they take every character who got any significant amount of screen time. We got Saeed.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
It's all Saeed, baby.
No, Boone and
Shannon are there.
Shannon and Charlie,
Claire,
and
Daniel Faraday's there.
They all see someone they recognize and they're like, "Oh, now I remember."
Yeah, and then they remember.
But there's one thing that happened. I feel like most of it isn't worth going over in great detail.
I agree.
One thing that happens that this blew my mind is sort of the big event that's bringing a lot of these people together.
Yeah.
Is a charity gala concert.
Yes.
For a museum, and the musical act is Daniel Faraday on the piano, being accompanied by the popular rock band Drive Shaft.
God, spare me from this concert.
Creating some of the worst music we've ever heard.
It sounds like shit. It's not even like it's like they're playing together.
Yeah.
It's like Daniel Faraday plays like doodly 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 doo, like a very elegant classical music,
Yeah.
and then just hard cut into you all everybody.
Totally, they're just playing rock. It's a horrible concert, and Daniel Faraday, who is Daniel Whitmore in this,
Yes.
because the world is different.
The world is different.
But Daniel Faraday looks terrible.
He is dressed like a street busker.
He has a fedora. He has a really thin little tie.
Vest over striped shirt.
It's not good.
Rancid energy from Daniel Faraday,
Yes.
Daniel Whitmore in this concert.
It is not good.
Unfuckable.
Unfuckable.
If I had spent a lifetime forging a soulmate-like connection with Daniel Faraday,
Yeah.
and then I died,
Yeah.
and then in the purgatory that we'd all made together, but
Yeah.
I didn't really understand it was that yet,
Mhm.
and I saw Daniel Faraday, and he held my hand, and he was wearing that fit,
Yeah.
I would stay behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it sort of goes with that. I feel like, he and Charlotte have a moment.
Yes.
And that's how they remember one another.
Yeah.
And I feel like because all up until this point, I thought the story was fairly readable and realistic.
Yeah.
But whenever Charlotte clued into who Daniel Faraday was, all she did was smile, but
Yeah.
that didn't make any sense to me. She should
Yeah.
have said, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah.
What have you done?
You are in your flop era, sir.
Yeah.
And we need to do something about it.
Yeah, this is not good.
It's not good.
But so that's the thing that happens?
That's the thing that happens. The other thing that happens is Claire gives birth.
Claire gives birth.
Claire is pregnant in an alternate world because her story is just the same. She's still pregnant.
Kate delivers the baby.
Kate delivers a baby with remarkable ease.
Yeah, Charlie just watches.
Charlie just watches and gives a blanket.
Yeah. What else?
Sawyer and
Jack cures John Locke's
Yes.
legs not working.
Yes. And John Locke says, this scene is extremely fucking good. There's a lot of these scenes where it's like one person has had the truth revealed to them, but they can't tell the audience yet. So it's a lot of them just being weird and cryptic and like smiling to the other person. And this scene is the epitome of that, where Jack is like, okay, sorry, let me start over.
Yeah.
John says, "It worked, Jack. Can you believe it? It actually worked." And Jack's like, "Well, give it a second, because, you know, we feel pretty good about the surgery." And then John starts wiggling his toes, and Jack's like, "Whoa, that's kind of crazy. Still, you should probably rest, considering you, again, just got out of surgery." And John is like, "I hope someone does for you what you did for me."
It's horrifying.
It's scary.
And then Jack is weirded out. He's like, "Oh, okay, I need to go see my son now."
And John says, "You don't have a son," with a big smile on his face.
It's insane.
It's so good.
This man is psychotic.
It's like,
and
yeah.
I'm loving it.
He's had too much morphine is what's happened.
He's had way too much morphine.
He had the wrong dosage.
Yeah, he's had too much Morpheus because he has been awakened.
He has been awakened. He's in the Matrix.
He woke up sheeple.
He woke up and he said, "Give me that yummy pill, baby."
Yeah,
and,
yes.
And he
totally
sees the truth for what it is.
He took both pills.
He took them
so
both.
So he can see both timelines.
Yes, exactly. Juliet and Sawyer reunite.
Yeah.
That's a nice scene. They make out. They kissed. There's some scenes of Ben just sitting outside the church where they all eventually meet.
Yeah.
And multiple people being like, "Hey, Ben, you want to come in?" And Ben being like, "I gotta reckon with my past sins."
Yeah.
And then Jack goes in and talks to his dad, and Dad says, "It's me. It's all..." Dad does the scene, and then they all go into the church. And one thing I want to mention about this church scene to you.
Absolutely.
Fun fact. The only actors who knew about the finale were the two actors, you know, Matthew Fox and whoever plays his dad.
Yeah.
Yes. So for that church scene, they were just everybody else was just fucking hanging out.
Oh my god, they didn't know what they were doing?
Nope, they were just like chilling.
They were just told to hang out.
They were just like, "Let's hang out and have fun. Just hug each other, smile real big, have a laugh."
Wow, I love that.
That owns.
That is so ridiculous. That checks out so hard.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, so the actors didn't even have any idea what was going on.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Well, Jack did, but most of them were just like, I don't know. They knew that they were in a church.
Do you think that the plan was originally for them to tell all the actors what was gonna happen, but then Jack found out first, and he was like, "You know what, guys? You would much rather just not know. It's not. It won't make you happier to know what you're doing."
It could have been that. I would believe it. And they look happy. They all look happy. They all look blessed.
And I think the funnest fact about this scene that you could, I mean, that was a really fun fact, but that you can get from just watching the episode.
Yeah.
Is that Miles isn't there.
Lapidus
isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
You know who is there?
Echo isn't there.
Lots
of people not there. Michael.
Lots of people not there. But you know who is there? Penny, Desmond's wife.
Yeah.
Who was never on the island.
Never on the island.
Desmond got a +1.
That's because Desmond did all the work to get everybody together. So
totally.
That's his reward.
This is our party. Welcome to our church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He gets to go wife mode.
He gets to go wife mode.
In one more lifetime.
I love that. Well, they're gonna be stoked.
They're gonna be so excited.
But that was the episode.
That was the episode. That's the final episode of Lost.
You know what?
What's
Talking about it and breaking it down like that.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Now that we talked about it, I realized that it was fun.
Yeah.
I think it was just shocked.
I think it's not good.
No.
But it is fine. I think there's enough fan servicey bullshit there. Like all the scenes where Juliet and Sawyer are making out and stuff.
Yeah.
And Vincent lies down, Vincent the real man lies down and
dies.
Yeah,
the real man.
And Hurley accepting the new job.
Yeah.
All that stuff is
fun.
It's fun, and it's I don't think it's... I think it definitely is impacted by the drought that is the rest of Season 6.
Yeah.
But it's thank God they actually went out on a having fun note.
Totally.
And as much as the everything is you were this is a place that you made with love, and the secret ingredient was the friends you made along the way. As much as that is corny as fuck.
It's fun, yeah.
It still like allows them to do a bit of fan servicey bullshit.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, no. I'm glad that we like sat down and talked about it because I feel like, well, first I honestly did not understand what had happened.
Yeah.
Right after watching it,
Of
I
course.
did not understand what I was supposed to have just witnessed.
Yes.
But yeah, talking through it, I'm like, I still would never say it was good,
No.
but it's not as aggressively bad as it seems on the surface level.
Exactly. It's a perfectly fine finale. Relative, like the real problem
to where the show had gone, I'm not, like, I can't see them doing a much better job.
That's exactly it. The real problem with Lost's ending is not the finale, it's all of season 6.
Yeah, it went off the rails much earlier than that, and it's like you can't just fix all of the. It's like it's the reason that Penn wasn't allowed in the church.
Exactly.
You have to atone for past sins. You can't just create something great after doing something terrible for that long.
Exactly. But you can at least let everybody smile and make out.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let everybody smile and Sawyer make out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a wrap on.
That was the show.
That was the show, and that I think is going to be a wrap on this silly little podcast.
Yeah, thank you all for listening.
Thank you all so much for listening. Anybody who's managed to listen to this whole damn podcast, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to noisepace.xyz for hosting this podcast for all these many years, and thank you to noisepace.xyz again.
Yes, and also I actually do want to just really quickly say a big thank you from the bottom of our hearts to noisepace.xyz.
Yes.
For hosting.
I also there's one more website I'd like to thank. And it's random.org.
Random.org.
We won't be rolling any for another episode, but is there a series of numbers you'd like to see? Give me your 2 favorite numbers.
Between 4 and 42.
Between 4 and 42, eh? All right.
I would, if we get an 8, a 15, a 16, a 23. You know. That's a reference for the real heads. 31. Almost 32. Very, very close. I guess it's not our lucky day.
It's not our lucky day, guys.
I guess we're still in the alternate universe, but we'll get back there one day.
Or maybe we'll die. Or maybe we'll decide, actually, I would love to move on to the next life with all of my friends.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Maybe the real podcast was the universe we invented along the way.
I absolutely agree with you. I think so.
If you'd like to keep following us, you can follow me on Twitter @BarrierTrio and
me at James Brown.
And yeah, I think that's a wrap, isn't it?
I think so. I think there's just one thing left to say.
There's one thing left to say, and it's the same thing we say at the end of every episode, and it is
Get lost.